and good afternoon. Welcome to today's live lesson here on the AMlangauge YouTube channel with me, Richie. I hope you're all doing well. It's half 4 in Malta, and I am sitting here proudly with my cup of tea. I think it's actually very important to have a good cup of tea every day. Tea is my friend, but what about you? Because today's lesson is to do with friends. And we're going to look at the type of language when we talk about friends. And if we're talking about a friend who we think is a close friend and friends that we think are not close friends. This is an important, these are two very important distinctions to make when we are talking about friendship. Is the person close? Is the person distant? And here we can talk about our circle of friends as well, and our role within friendships. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like and share the video. If this is your first time, definitely subscribe to the channel. I'm very pleased to say that we have hit the 800 mark. We are now just 200 subscribers away from reaching that milestone of 1,000 subscribers. So yes. That is good. The other thing that I would like to say is there are more videos coming out. There'll be short videos, mini videos coming out as often as possible. I'm looking forward to the one that I hope to upload at some point this week or at the start of next week. It tackles a question that lots of people really struggle with. There are also some other videos that we are going to come out with in the near future as well. We're really trying to, I'd say there's lots of exciting new material really that we are developing. So these things are exciting. They have, there's promise with it. Oh, I do like a good cup of tea. I'm drinking Earl Grey tea. It goes very well with milk. Irina F, good afternoon. Privyet, welcome to today's lesson. I hope you're doing well. Now, some things that I was thinking about yesterday. I've been thinking about the setup with these videos. And one of the things that I'm looking into at the moment is I want to try and get hold of a good microphone and some good lighting as well. But they need to be portable. That's the only problem. If they're portable, then they'll be good. These are two simple things that I'm going to look to get. It's just a question of trying to find the right, the thing that I would say I might struggle with the most at the moment is finding the right type of microphone. I can find some good lights, but the microphone one is a little bit difficult. That's not necessarily easy to find. I know that it makes a really big difference. So hopefully I can find a good microphone. Lighting, I found some good lighting as well. That could be quite good. And the other thing as well that I think I might look into is to more to do with cameras. Now, I think at some point, I know that the thing is that your phone these days are more than good enough to actually be your studio almost. They can be your camera. It can be your you can take photos, videos. So all of these things, I think I'm going to do some research over the summer to see what can be developed on that front. This is a fantastic cup of tea. I know I've said it already. But anyway, let's get into today's lesson. We're talking about friends. Speaking of Friends, if you are a fan of the TV show Friends, then you will be pleased to know that I think it's going to be on HBO. I could be wrong, but they are going to release at some point um, like an episode. I think at least one special episode of Friends with the original, with the cast and everything. So that looks pretty good. But like I said, let's actually talk about the subject of today. Now, whenever we look at the subject of Friends, I do like to think of, I'm going to introduce one or two things. The first thing I'm going to talk about here is your circle of friends. Okay. And so this is the first thing I'm going to just to write. Okay. We need to think of your circle of friends. Okay, now your circle of friends, your circle of friends is your group of friends. Now, the first thing is, and this is a good term, is it a tight, I think it's called a tight knit, actually, the term I'm thinking of here. But I'm just wondering if there's a dash in this. Tight knit group. Yeah, two. Okay, yes, there is a dash. I thought there was going to be a dash in it. A tight knit group, and that's with a K. Now, a tight knit group is a way of saying, are you very close? Okay, so is it a tight knit group? Meaning, are you very close as a group of friends? Are you a diverse group? This means over here, do you have a lot of different characters from different backgrounds and everything that comes with it, with that? So, for instance, do you all come from the same town, or do you come from different parts of the world, from different cultures, all the rest of it? Do you all look the same, or do you look very different as a group? And the key word there is diverse. The second thing is one that you have to think about here. I would say, and this is to do with close friends and then distant friends. Now, a distant friend might be. Now, there's two different types of distant friends. There's a distant friend who you're not very close to, but you get along well whenever you meet them. Then there's another type of friend. These are not close friends, and they should not be considered to be close friends. These are what you would call fickle friends. So they come and go whenever it is convenient for them. That is a fickle friend. Ooh, convenient friends, yes. That is a fickle friend. So these sort of characters, they come and go whenever it is convenient for them. That is what a fickle friend is. And then the other type of thing that you will always have is your within your group is your best friend or friends, the people you are closest to. Sometimes you can say he is a brother from another, from another mother, for example. Um, you can also the same. She's a sister from another mother. Okay, so these are really, really close friends. They know you. Your closest friends might even know you inside out. Now, inside out, it's a good one here. Inside out means they know you so well, they know what you're thinking. Evelina, good afternoon. I am not close with friends. I'm sorry to hear that. And then sometimes, like they say, sometimes some people might not have a close group of friends. Maybe animals are their closest friends. There is a saying in English, and it might be the same in your language. Good afternoon, Evelina. Thank you so much for joining. Um, an important thing to remember is I don't know if it translates to your language, but a dog is a man's best friend. Now, man here, I'm using not just as man as in man, but man and woman. I'm using it in that term here. Let me know if this is a saying in your language. It's interesting to look at the relationship of friendships. And I just want to bring up one other thing, which is quite important with friendships. Okay. I'm actually going with a little bit of I'm actually going to introduce something that I quite like. Now, I am very much in. Ooh, let's see. Evelina has said the English people are closed with the strangers. Ah, you're saying instead of closed, because that's like closing the door. You want to say just close. So English people are. Let's go with the question: are English people uh, instead of close, friendly with strangers? That's one question. Are you close to your neighbor, for example? So, two slightly different things. Remember, closed is to close the door. Close here, as in just physically close. So, we've got to be careful. We're not using it as a verb. We're using it as an adjective. She is close. We are close. Okay. So don't forget, close can be an adjective or a verb. We're using the adjective form. Are English people friendly with strangers? Oh, gosh. I'm going to say most of the time, no. You can find some, they can be. I don't want to generalize too much, but I think it depends what part of the country you go to. Now, if you go to the north of England, where I am from, you can find strangers who are very friendly as soon as you walk in, especially in the pub. People can be very friendly in the pub, especially if they've had some drinks. People in London, London is a very international city. Not so much. I think it depends what hour of the day. If it's rush hour, no. If people are going to work or going home, people are not friendly. And that's off my personal experience. Um, Actually, you know what? I think this is a good question in general. Who are the friendliest people in the world? Let's go with that question. Who are the friendliest people in the world? Friendliest people in the world. Let me know. In my experience, gosh, this is difficult. Who are the friendliest people in the world that I have met? I think, generally speaking, South Americans are very, very friendly. Whether they're from Colombia, I mean, I've always found students, whether they're from Colombia, Brazil, Peru, always very friendly. Argentina as well. So I'm going to say, yeah, I think some of the friendliest people in the world are South Americans. Um, in my experience, English people, so. Again, I think it depends what part of the country and how much and what time of day is. If it's 4 o'clock and they're having a cup of tea, they are very friendly. Maltese people, they can be very friendly. Again, I think it depends what part of the island. I think it depends what their job is as well. Um, there's a bit of a mix in Malta, really. Anyone in tourism is usually very friendly. So I think it does depend on what their profession is. Evelina says Spanish, Italians are very friendly. Yes, I think it depends. I've noticed, and this is just my personal experience having been to Spain, I think people from Barcelona are friendlier. I'm using the comparative friendlier than people from. Well, no, I don't want to use this. I'm just say I find people in my experience, I didn't find people in Madrid very friendly when I went to Madrid. People who I know from other parts of Spain seem to be friendlier, but that could be unfair. Italy, again, I think it depends which part of Italy, but in my experience, I have found most Italians very friendly. Irina's F says, I think Russians are very friendly. You know what? Actually, I would say that Russians, in terms of the Russian students that I have taught, have all been, most of them have been friendly. I think it depends on their age. I'm just going to say this. My experience with Russian teenagers are a little bit different. They're interesting characters, but in terms of teaching adults, I would say I've always found Russian adults, the majority, to be very friendly. Um, but I sometimes think it might depend where they're from in terms of which region, how international their place is. So you guys can let me know a little bit more. For instance, do you find there's a difference between people from Moscow and people from St. Petersburg, for example? Evelina says, yes, people South Italy, very friendly. In South Italy, there, yeah, you just need in South in Sud, yes, in South Italy are very friendly. Yeah, they are very friendly in South Italy, Southern Italians, definitely. Um, the Americans, people from the United States, I would say are, if you go to any major city, they are friendly. I mean, when it comes to customer service, they are very friendly. I mean, in England, we find it almost strange that someone is as friendly as people in the United States. If you go to New York, for example, and you go to into a cafe, or you go into a big shopping center, shopping mall, and you ask for help, or you talk to any members of staff, they are very, very friendly. In England, not so much, to be honest. I think the thing is, in England, I would say, I'm speaking as an Englishman, there's often a feeling of the person doesn't want to be there. They would rather, they would prefer to be somewhere else. But I think again, it does depend on the level of service and all the rest of it. But another thing I'm going to introduce here is, now I'm very much into my philosophy and theology. So I'm just going to introduce one word. Okay, it's Greek, but I think it's a really important word to have when we talk about friendship, and that is the word. Now, for those of you who might know it, some of you might know this. I just need to make sure I don't drop my tea. Greek word for brotherly love, which is friendship love, and this is philia. Philia is philia. Let me just do this again. I think this is just a really help. I sometimes think actually it's good to know a little bit of Latin and to know a little bit of Greek, especially with all the wisdom that comes from it. Now, philia is a Greek word for brotherly love. And I like this word philia a lot. because I would say that today, in today's world, especially at least in the English speaking world, we use the word love a lot. But I think sometimes it might be a little bit difficult for people to really um, understand, well, what do we mean by love? What do we mean when we say I love you to a friend, opposed to I love you to your partner? And sometimes, is there a crossover? So I'm gonna put a question to you guys, and I'd like you to think about it. In a relationship, um, even though you love the person, so you're in a relationship, and even though you love the person, um, can should you, even though you love the person, is it important to also have um, a filler type of love for the person? Now, what I mean here is this: should you be friends with your partner? And this is a partner. Okay, part. I think this is a really good question. And the reason why is I think there's a bit of a change in culture going on. It's amazing how many people might say that they are not friends, like they don't consider their wife or their husband to be their friend. I don't know if you have heard it in your cultures where you are from, but in the English speaking world, there are some ideas that the person you are with, you're not necessarily friends. And to me, that sounds strange. I think if you are, for me, I would say that if you are in a relationship with someone, you would want to be friends with that person as well. I would say that from my personal experience, hi, Francesca, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Evelina says, no, necessary a friend. No, oh, I think I know what you mean. So you're saying it is no necessary a friend. Okay, let me just ask you, because the sentence, we need a bit more language there for me to fully understand. So are you saying, no, it's not necessary to be friends with your partner? Or are you saying B, no, it is necessary to be friends with your partner? Meaning yes. Let me know what you mean, because that's what we just have to look at. No, it's not necessary to be friends with your partner, or no, it is necessary to be friends with your partner, meaning yes, you do need to be friends with your partner. Let me know if you mean A or if you mean B. For me, I think it depends what type of relationship it is. I would say, from my personal experience, if it's going to be, I suppose, yeah, I suppose it depends how serious the relationship is and how what you want in your relationship. For me, I've always liked the idea that the person you're with is also your friend, someone that you'd want to be with, that you would want to enjoy their company. But I think it does depend on what type of friendship, what type of relationship it is. And I think it depends on how serious the relationship is as well. Francesca, for you, it's B, and Evelina. Okay, good. Okay, so I understand now. So you all mean B. Yes, it is necessary. So no, it is necessary to be friends with your partner. I would say, Irina F says, or be friends or love. Well, the thing is, there is you've got Sometimes people are just friends. Sometimes people are just lovers, meaning they get together and have sex. Or if it's a serious relationship, then you would say that they are both friends and lovers as well. And I think from my experience, I would say for a very enjoyable relationship, I would say that the ones I have enjoyed is when you are both friends and there's both there, friends and lovers. I think if it's like a marriage, for example, I think that's necessary. But that's just my opinion. Feel free to let me know what your thoughts are. But that type of friendship is in Greek would be philia, so brotherly love in that sense. So French love of friendship, really. I'm very happy to say that my closest friends, the people whom I'm closest to, I have that filler relationship with them. I have that brotherly love with them. I think there are always at least about four names that I can think of straight away that have been my friends for a very, very long time. So there's that relationship there. Um, so yeah, so that's an interesting sort of discussion there. Hmm. Here's a question for you. Evelina says, today I heard that Boris Johnson married in Italy. Quite really? Thank you for letting me know. Oh, that's a point. Yeah, I think he did. I think he did. Yes, he married. I can't remember. But to be fair, Italy's a lovely place to get married. You've got lots of lovely places. One of my favorite places, actually, is a place, I think, I can't remember the name, actually. Um, Lake Garda. Lake Garda is a lovely, lovely part of Italy, and a very romantic place as well. You've got obviously Lake Como. You know what? Knowing Boris, he probably went to Lake Como to marry. Actually, that would have been expensive. Um, so yeah, we're talking about this now. Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Is it good to be friends with your work colleagues? Let me know. Is it good to be friends with your work colleagues? Here, I think it depends on your role. I think it depends on your role, and I think it depends on the team, what type of team you're in, and the hierarchy. For instance, I don't know. Let me include this. Is it good to be friends with your colleagues if you are their boss? Let me know what you think about that. Evelina says that she agrees. Thank you very much, Evelina. We seem to have similar thoughts today. Now, here we have these two questions. Is it good to be friends with your work colleagues? Is it good to be friends with your colleagues if you are their boss? I don't know what the answer is and all the time. I think it depends what type of work environment it is. I think if it's in education, it's probably a healthy thing. But I think if you're in something like a bank, for example, I don't know if this is a good idea. Irina says yes, of course, if they don't envy you. If they don't, I think that's an important thing there. If they don't envy you, that's a very important statement. I do think it depends on what your job is. I think in a bank, I can imagine in a bank it might be difficult. Same with something like anything that's a very competitive industry. I think it can be probably very difficult, maybe, to be friends. I think if you work in an industry that is focused on people, like education or medicine, then it's easier to be friends with people. So maybe it depends on the type of industry. Francesca says it depends. It depends the friendship. It depends on. The preposition of depend is on. So it depends on the kind of friendship we would put in there. So it depends on the kind of friendship. Green App says, if you are the boss, then you should not be friends with subordinates. You should not be a friend with subordinates. Okay, that's an interesting comment then. I think that is probably that probably is a wise idea. I think it does depend on how big your team is. I think it depends what type of decisions you're going to have to make. If you know you are in an industry where people come and go very quickly, then probably not. Because then you're going to have to make some serious decisions. And sometimes you might have to let people go. You might have to fire them or, tell them we don't need you anymore. I think in sport, for example, if you are the manager, that's probably a common thing. You don't want to be too close to your. If you are the manager, you don't want to be too close to your team. If you work, I think it does depend on what sort of relationship it is. In that sense. Okay, so we're doing quite well so far. Now, let me ask you this. Now, I'm going to go back to this definition that I used earlier. Fickle friends. Okay, they come and go whenever it is convenient for them. Okay, so we're looking at this now. My next question is going to be about fickle friends. They come and go whenever it is convenient for them. So my question to you is this. Were the majority of your friends at school fickle? That's correct. Were the majority of your friends at school fickle? Actually, were the majority of your friends at school fickle? Okay. As in fickle friends. So let me know about that. Were the majority of your friends at school fickle? As in fickle friends? Let me know. For me, I would say most were distant. I can think of quite a few who I would describe as fickle friends. So I don't think the majority of my friends at school were fickle. I think the majority were just distant. But I can think of what we would say like a handful of fickle friends. So a handful is like a number you can almost count on your hand. A handful, which is a number that you can almost count on your fingers, for example. That's one way of looking at it. This isn't accurate. It doesn't mean you have 5 friends or 4 friends. A handful means like a small amount. Okay. That's another way of looking at it. So I think at school, I myself had a handful of fickle friends. The majority were just distant, and then there were a handful of close friends. But I think there was, just as there were a handful of fickle, there were a handful of close. But the majority were probably just distant friends. What about you guys? Maybe you would say the same thing. Maybe when you think of your friends from school, you might say, okay, the majority were were not fickle, but you can think of maybe one or two people that you would describe as fickle friends. Remember, a fickle friend is someone who they come and go whenever it is convenient from them. So these are friends that only talk to you if they want something from you. Um, I would say that's very common in teenage years. I think in teenage years, that's when you're a teenager. I think you come across. I think you meet a lot of fickle friends. I think you'll have a quite a few fickle friends when you were in your in your teenage years. Um, I would say that it's interesting when teaching teenagers. I mean, I don't teach teenagers very often. I teach adults. But whenever I have taught teenagers, it's easy to see. It's interesting to look at the friendship, the relationships. If anyone has ever been a teacher at any point and they have taught teenagers, it is an experience. Um, it's definitely an experience. Irina F says, my school friends were all fickle because I changed schools frequently. All right. Okay. Well, that's going to happen, I suppose, if you change schools frequently. I think you'll end up with quite a lot of distant friends and some fickle friends as well. My one of my sisters, the oldest one, she changed schools a lot, so she can probably. I think she would agree with you there. Um, it can be a problem when you change school a lot. It's always awful being the new, being the new child in the class, the new person in a class, and everybody knows each other, and you are there for the on the like. Nothing's worse than the first day. Nothing's worse than the first day. Um, Yeah, I mean, I would always say, I mean, it's important to know how to meet new people. It's important to have the confidence to meet new people, and not to feel uncomfortable being the new person. It's same at work, really. You can, but it's important to get used to. Evelina says, I don't have friends at school. I don't, or I didn't. If this is a past, don't forget, if it's the past, then it's going to be I didn't have friends at school. At is going to be the preposition, so I didn't have friends at. I didn't have friends at school. If that's the case, Evelina, I am very sorry to hear that. I'm sorry you didn't have friends at school. Um, let's see. Past didn't. Yes, correct. I didn't have friends at school. I would say though, growing. I mean, I would say now. Now, let's see. Francesca says my school friends continue to be my best friends. You don't need the in this case. I know you would usually use the, but this sounds like it's going to be plural because you're talking about more than one friend. So because you're talking about more than one friend, in this case, you don't need the. You can just say, um, my school friends continue to be my best friends. So that's what you want to go with in this case. It's not often you can do that, but in this case, that's it's going to be like that. You're talking a general plural over here. I would say I'm quite lucky. I have groups of close friends from England, um, Malta, are the two main countries. I would say, and then I've got friends in different parts of the world as well. Um, and now I'm currently developing a new circle of friends actually as well in Dublin. Um, but it's important to have different groups of friends. I mean, you also have school friends, university friends, colleagues, work colleagues. Um, and it's what I would say is, as I have grown older, I have become more selective with whom I am friends. I'll write that down. As I have grown older, I have become more selective. Selective when it comes to choosing friends. That for me is quite an important thing. As I have grown older, I have become more selective when it comes to choosing friends. Different from when I was younger. I know the type of person I want to be friends with. That's for sure. Um, I would always say, yeah, and I think that's an important thing. You want to know what type of person you want to be friends with. What sort of person do you want to call a friend? And that can be difficult sometimes. Anyway, so that brings us um, to the end, really, of today's lesson. Thank you very much for engaging in the live chat. Today was more of a conversation lesson, and we got to look at some new language as well, such as fickle friends, for example, filler, brotherly love, for example. Now, just to remind you, the lesson tomorrow is on, because I need to remind myself, failures and disappointments, turning negatives into positives. Really important. We'll have a look at that. Evelina, thank you very much. Have a great evening as well, and see you soon. A big thank you, actually, to Evelina, Francesca, Arena F, for your participation in today's lesson. You guys make the lesson, so thank you very much. Make sure you like the video as well. You too, Irina F, have a lovely evening. Have a whale of a time this evening. Thank you very much. I don't think I will have a whale of a time. I don't think I'm doing anything particularly exciting, but thank you very much. And yes, Francesca, see you tomorrow as well. See us. Actually, on this one, yeah, you would say see you. It's us. No, we can't really use us. See you. We would just say see you tomorrow. Even for a group of people, you would also say see you tomorrow. We don't need to use us in that case. But thank you very much, Francesca. Okay, everybody, have a lovely evening. Take care. See you guys tomorrow, and bye for now.